The jailed or almost jailed is now the jailer. Donald Trump at the Department of Justice, of all things, declaring himself to be the chief law enforcement officer of the land, even though his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, I think that's who it is, was standing right next to him. He then went off for about an hour and a half on some other ranting, raving, raging attack on our rule of law, on our justice system, on the independence of the FBI, the independence of the Department of Justice. He then called the media criminals again while he pumped up those judges that he liked and wants to, no pun intended, canonize, like Judge Cannon, while he continued to attack the other judges that ruled against him. From the perch of the Department of Justice, what does it mean for our rule of law? What does it mean for federal judges who may be quaking in their black robes against ruling against Donald Trump in the future? We discuss it all and debate it all. One place I know on the YouTube dial, Legal AF on the Midas Touch YouTube channel. And here's an After Dark clip of our podcast.
Let's get right into it if we can about what went down at this DOJ event. Let me just share with you some of the, I guess, the lowlights of what went down.
Yeah, I'll react to the clips. Go ahead.
Donald Trump saying that we're focused on persecuting. Let's play this clip.
People you don't even want to know about. But as many of you do know, well, we're focused on persecuting, and these people were really focused on persecuting Republicans, the last administration.
And here Donald Trump is again talking about, let me just play this clip for you right here. Let's play the next clip, Salty.
Can't allow yourselves to be deflected. You just can't let it happen. You have such a higher calling. And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me, are political arms of the Democrat Party. And in my opinion, they're really corrupt and they're illegal. What they do is illegal. It makes no difference how big a victory I had. I can have the biggest victory in history. It makes no difference what kind of a failure the other side has.
Then next, Donald Trump says that essentially if you criticize Judge Eileen Cannon, that's the federal judge he appointed in the Southern District of Florida back in 2020. She dismissed the Mar-a-Lago document case against him when she ruled that the concept of special counsels, which existed everywhere else and for decades was a thing, or since the beginning of time was a thing, that she said as it relates to Trump, special counsels can't exist. As it relates to citizen Trump, case gets dismissed. She's one of the most corrupt judges out there, Trump says. If you criticize Judge Eileen Cannon, that could be illegal. Play this clip.
Todd and Aim will know this very well. We had an amazing judge in Florida, and her name is Eileen Cannon, and I didn't know her. I still don't know her. I don't believe I ever spoke to her, even during the trial. But I did appoint her, federal judge. And these fake lawyers, these horrible human beings, were hitting her so hard, public relations-wise. They were playing the ref. I don't think it's legal. I don't think it's legal. They might as well go out and just shout it in a courthouse.
Then Michael Popok, Donald Trump says that the crowd that was there at the DOJ. Do we have a photo of the crowd, Salty, just to see what this room looked like?
Largest in history. Mm-hmm.
So this is the crowd, just so everybody sees where he's speaking. And I will give the benefit of the doubt that those empty seats were all filled by the time he gave his speech. So just assume that room, which was, what would you say there, Popok?
250.
250 people. Yeah. Here's what Donald Trump said as he's speaking to the people at the DOJ. Let's play it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Pam, very much. What a job you're doing. And it's a true honor to be with you today. This is a storied hall, if there ever was one. And based on the crowd, I think we broke the all-time record.
Broke the all-time. What's he even talking about? And then finally, Popok, I'll get your reaction to it all. Yep. He praises the January 6th insurrectionists with whom he created a musical called the J6th Anthem, who he has since pardoned the most violent of the violent insurrectionists. Here, play this.
Please convict me. Don't say that. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been grossly mistreated. We removed the senior FBI officials who misdirected resources to send SWAT teams after grandmothers and J6 hostages. And it was.
So he's at the Department of Justice attacking the FBI, praising the January 6th insurrectionists in that ballroom in front of the DOJ lawyers. A madman, a psychopath. One thing I'll just add before passing it to you, a Trump-appointed judge this past week, Judge Dabney Friedrich, she ruled against the Trump regime's attempt to try to extend the pardons to at least one individual, J6, a three-time convicted
gun charge. Yeah,
a gun charge. And the Trump regime is arguing these January 6ers should be pardoned basically for anything that even was somehow incidental to the investigation. If other crimes were found in connection with people, with the FBI looking into the January 6ers, they should be pardoned for that as well. And the judge said, I'm not going to do that. He can re-pardon them on those other issues, but that's not how I read this part. That was a Trump appointed judge. But Popok, that's some horrific stuff I just showcased.
Yeah, and let's break it down a little bit there on all the lies that were told. Let's start with MSNDC, whatever the joke is he's trying to make there, and things are illegal. The 20 different people affiliated with Fox at the highest levels are in the Trump administration, including the head of our Pentagon, who came off the Fox and Friends weekend bench to be the head of the Pentagon in Pete Hegseth. So if there's ever been talk about gaslighting, if there's ever been a media organization that is a propaganda arm of an administration or a person, it's Fox News, it's Fox and Donald Trump. MSNBC and CNN and others and our independent media, we're just holding up our end of the bargain in a free and fair society to do commentary and analysis and fact gathering, which is exactly the role of the First Amendment and freedom of the press and free speech. Nobody, I assure you, MAGA or otherwise, wants to live in a country where there is no independent media. We've done plenty of shows and segments about corporate media being compromised because of the corporate nature of their ownership structure and why they're not holding up their end of the bargain, and why organizations like Midas Touch and Legal AF have stepped forward to fill that void. But for him, it's just, again, he's got, I talk about the pot calling the kettle black. He knows that has been a criticism of him and of Fox News forever. So he tries to deflect attention from that. On Eileen Cannon, again, that is one tip of the iceberg of a coordinated effort that's been going on with the Trump administration since they got into office, led by people like Elon Musk, who every time there is a decision against Trump and Elon Musk, and there's been over a dozen lawsuits and injunctions and temporary restraining orders and orders against him. There are 5 this week. There's 2 just Thursday. He comes out and says the same thing. He defames the federal judges and calls them corrupt without any proof whatsoever. He calls for their impeachment. He says they are lawless. He says they are out of control. And then right on cue, those federal judges get viciously, violently attacked in social media because of the effective doxing of them by Elon Musk. There's nothing corrupt about Judge Engelmeyer's decision a month and a half ago to stop DOJ from rummaging around our medical and financial information on Treasury Department servers. You may not agree with it, but it has jurisprudential gravamen, right? It has, or gravitas. It has an underpinning of analysis. It has legal precedent behind it and a factual analysis. You may not agree with it, but to call the guy corrupt and to put it in context, in over 200 years of our republic, 15 judges total, 15 have been impeached, generally for bribery. Those things have happened. By contrast, we've had 5 federal judges die by assassinations and attacks in the last 30 years, and a state court judge that was just shot down just a year or 2 ago. They're playing with a dangerous fire to try to burn down the rule of law. It all stems from their belief, and we're seeing it on full display at the Department of Justice speech, their belief goes hand in glove, of the unitary president, the imperial dictatorship president, right? And then they want to divide and conquer the judiciary. They don't want a unified judiciary. That's why when we get later in the show to nationwide universal injunctions, they love them when it was the Biden administration coming out of Texas. They hate them when it's coming out of the places where we filed our lawsuits up and down New England, California, Maryland, DC, and then, nationwide injunctions. Then everybody's all up in arms about it. But because they don't want nationwide injunctions when the Democrats are opposing them and these public interest groups. They want us to have to file in 50 different states, in 50 different federal districts to obtain, while Donald Trump moves forward, like Patton rolling the tanks to destroy the rule of law. So that's out of the playbook of 2020, Project 2025. Destroy the judiciary, destroy nationwide injunctions, elevate the presidency above the other two branches in a power-drunk, mad attempt to tear apart brick by brick what makes our constitutional republic what it is. And I want to call out Donald Trump for a minute because we don't do this enough. It's not the Democrat Party. It's the Democratic Party. That's the name. We've allowed them to try to steal our brand and steal our name. They're the Republicans. They're not the Republic Party. We're the Democratic Party. And by the way, there's a reason historically for that. So when he says a Democrat Party and this and that, right? Listen, he wants to make Eileen Cannon, God forbid, the next Supreme Court justice if there's an opening. He has the power to do that subject to the confirmation of the Senate, But now you've got all these judges on the Democratic side who are ruling against Donald Trump. We're going to talk about 5 of them who have told media off the record, obviously, that they are afraid for their lives because of the attacks if they rule against Donald Trump. And if people don't think that's having an impact on the independence of the federal judiciary, think again. It is, but that is exactly what Donald Trump wants to do. So for him to effectively stand in the hallowed halls, as he called it, of the Department of Justice and drop his pants and crap all over the rule of law at the same time, shouting out to Kash Patel of the FBI, shouting out to, I finally learned how to pronounce his name off that clip, Emil Bove, his criminal defense lawyer, now number 3 in the Department of Justice, or Todd Blanche, the COO of the Department of Justice, and Pam Bondi. Who is he fooling? The head of the law enforcement unit of the U.S. government is a guy named Donald Trump. And everybody else is a bootlicker, sycophant, and meat puppet. And that's what we're watching over and over and over again. So for you and me, we knew what was going to go down at that press conference. It went off the rails within the first minute and a half. Did he even mention fentanyl? I mean, that's what he gathered all the media for. Because if he said, I'm going to talk about the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the Biden crime family, who would have showed up?
I'll tell you what, they didn't release the Epstein files. They said now for how many weeks? We're really going to release them tomorrow. We're going to release them tomorrow. As I've said before, they're never going to release those Epstein files. Trump was like one of Epstein's closest friends back in the day. Donald Trump said Epstein's a great guy. What they did release 2 weeks ago, remember they had those MAGA influencers hold up those binders that said, these are the Epstein files, and they left the White House. And then people were like, those aren't the Epstein files. Those are the phone list that Epstein had that was released many, many years ago that's already public. And by the way, we know that Trump was on that list as well because Trump's name is on it because they were friends. We know it. We know it went down. So I think it's worth noting that as well and not letting them get away with and try to continue to cover that up.
Welcome back. That was Ben Meiselas and me. We do the show on Saturdays. I do it on Wednesdays with Karen Friedman Agnifilo. We sit at the intersection of law and politics so that you don't have to. Our full-length podcast is about an hour or so. We do 4 or 5 different topics at the forefront of whatever's happening that we curate in law and politics for that week. And it is the hottest and incendiary corner it is under the Trump administration. If you like that kind of stuff, join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays over on the Midas Touch Network. And then you can see us on hot takes about law and politics about every hour on Midas Touch and on Legal AF. And if you could take that clip and send it off to people in your life and ask them to join us, that's how we're growing organically by word of mouth. And here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel as well, take a minute if you like that kind of content, vote, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. That really helps. So until my next reporting, next thing, all Legal AF, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.